Where do I begin?
Big respect.
So to start off, I woke up late. I just didn't get through everything I needed to get through on the day before, and getting up was a bit of a challenge. I didn't get to sleep early the night before. There was just excitement, nervousness, and all of that. But I suppose that comes with any event, right?
What do you think about the headwind, the uphill?
Ready? So at this point, I'm just focused on getting into transition, setting up, and getting ready to go. Yeah, not particularly concerned about performance or anything like that. I mean, the water here was very choppy, and to be absolutely honest, I was happy I wasn't taking on the swim this year around. But you know, I am looking forward to doing it next year. It was good to get a feel of what the event will actually be like, just the conditions that exist on the day doing an event like this. It's unpredictable. You don't have control over what it will look like on a given day. So it's just preparing, and I'm using this as practice. I'm using it as a dry run to be able to compete in North Carolina in October.
Sylvia, how you feel about today? First time?
No, not my first time.
Okay.
Sylvia swim all the time. Sylvia's a big swimmer.
Okay, good. Well, Xavier, you ready? Bumpus.
It started to rain, and at that point I was really worried as to whether it would have been a rainy event, or if I would have been able to compete under favorable conditions. So at that point I was a little nervous, a little worried, and I had a decision to make at that point, whether it was that I was going to go out there and compete, or I'd have to call it quits.
Why? What's the risk?
So environmental conditions can trigger a crisis. With sickle cell disease, you're prone to having what is referred to as painful crises. The red blood cells are responsible for carrying oxygen throughout the body, and normal red blood cells are round and flexible. When the blood cells begin to what we call sickle, they become crescent shaped and become rigid, and the cold that would be brought on by the rain could trigger that process to begin, which would then cause a painful crisis. Go ahead and compete, and possibly having to end up on IV getting painkillers the following day, or not competing. So I had to make that choice at that point in time, and if it didn't stop raining, it's possible that all of that training that I would have put in ahead of the event would not have come to fruition. Persons were coming into transition because they had completed their leg, whether it was the first leg of the duathlon, the first run leg of the duathlon, or the swim leg. So I was just there waiting for Xavier to come in, and as a matter of fact, I didn't even realize when Xavier came in. Off. Xavier got in, did his swim. He did a very good time on the swim. Met me in transition.
Thumbs up.
And then
When you cross, after you cross, you can mount. After you cross, you can mount. Go now.
very grateful that the rain stopped, and I was able to get off on the bike. This section of the course was nice, right? It's having completed the first climb and just getting to a phase on the course where I could recover and just cruise. And I know that this is where I'd have to make up time to improve and to better my performance, right? So not being very good on the climbs, then of course I have to go out on the descent and to ensure that, you know, I make up for lost time here. And to be quite frank, it's just a really nice feeling, embracing the need for speed. This was grueling. This was brutal. I think this would have been maybe my second time going up this climb. At this point, very tired, very exhausted, struggling really, struggling, and I just had to dig in, one pedal stroke at a time. The idea here is just get over the hill, just keep going, don't stop, you'll just get over the hump and then recover and rest. The climb is always a challenge for me, and to be able to complete that climb 4 times, I consider that a positive and a win. Favorite part of the course, it's either flat or a gentle descent. Very grateful.
Did it at any one time occur to you that, well, Jamaica is hot, but the big event that's 170 days away, the conditions should not be as hot, so your performance should increase?
The funny thing with an event is you can't predict what it will be like on the day. You can't predict what your condition will be. You can't predict what the environmental conditions will be. So at any point it's just showing up, going out there and responding to whatever challenges face you on the day. I mean, on this day, what happens in North Carolina on October 22nd is irrelevant. It's just on the day, turning up, facing the conditions that exist and executing. See, one of the good things with an event like a triathlon, right, is the spectators. The spectators being there, it just adds to the motivation. And at points where you're struggling, just having somebody there cheering you on, saying whatever, and just holding you accountable. I didn't understand it until I got on the course and felt the actual feeling of wanting to give up and just wanting to quit, and then just having somebody say keep going or whatever, and that always helps.
69? Yeah! Up there! Up.
time on the bike was a little slower than it was last year, but all things considered, given that it was a course with 4 climbs instead of 2, it was overall a better performance. So that in and of itself was good. By the time I got to the run, my legs were done and I just walked, and that was that was a slower time than I did last year. Boom.
Blind. No.
You see anything that I set my mind to, I'm going to achieve. Anything I set my mind.
So we're talking about Sun City Triathlon 2023. It's my second attempt at the event. I set out initially with a goal to better my performance from the previous year, and I'm comfortable in saying that I did that. The time for the individual events may not have been better than they were last year, but in terms of what my performance was, it was indeed better, because I've seen the growth, I've seen the improvement in the performance over what I did in the previous year.
You see anything that I set my mind to, I'm going to achieve. Anything I set my mind to.